So this next segment, it probably should be started with a tweet that I put out the other day. So obviously you know me, everyone knows me, I follow the polling numbers very, very closely. I look at the crosstabs, I make inferences from the information that we've got by looking at all the different polls and all the different results to make some conclusions about the state of the nation. And when I was looking into a Find Out Now poll last week, I looked at the crosstabs and made this claim about the age breakdown of the voting cohorts in this poll that had the Green Party at 15%, which is why I looked into it because I thought it was very interesting. And I put this tweet out that said that the Green Party were 1 point away from first among the entire under 55 cohort. So if you average this out based upon the filtered percentages once you've weighted for each demographic that's being talked about, each age demographic, it roughly works out with the Green Party on 23.4% and Reform UK on 25.3%. So a 1 point swing from Reform to Green would put the Greens ahead. And so I tweeted out this. And friend of the show, Reform UK's policy chief and ex-head of Doge, Zia Yusuf, decided to have a go at me, claiming that I got percentages wrong when I didn't. So he got clowned on in the replies, pointing out about how it gives 190 Green supporters and 205 Reform supporters out of a sample of 810, and therefore the 1% swing from Reform to Green would put the Greens ahead. So we went over this on a couple of shows before. I don't need to go over this anymore. Me and Kevin, me and Curtis went over the Zia Yusuf beef, and fundamentally we came to the conclusion that this man is very pathetic. That not only is he so dumb that he doesn't understand how percentages work, but will tell other people how percentages work. He will have the self-confidence to be this confidently wrong, but also just get into slap fights with G-list YouTubers on Twitter and TikTokers like Big John rather than talking about actual policy because he's not a serious individual. But whatever. We've done the clowning on Zia Yusuf up to now. But there's been a really important poll that was released today by YouGov, which is like the gold standard of polling, because this came from a poll by a company called Find Out Now, who are notorious for over counting the Reform vote. They are notorious for that, so people don't really take them seriously, and in terms of their poll grading by the British Polling Council, it's not very high in terms of their accuracy. YouGov is supposedly the gold standard. They do polling across the world, they've done it for a very, very long time, they have traditionally got things mostly reasonably correct outside of some suspect meddling with polls, but that's a story for another time. Either way, YouGov has been seen as being the authoritative kind of polling company in this country. And the latest poll that they put out has the Green Party on 16%, a record high. It has the Labour Party on a record low with YouGov on 17%. So all of the speculation over the rise of the Greens and the fall of Labour and the movement of Labour voters to the Green Party is not just confined to these kind of cowboy pollsters like Find Out Now. It is fundamentally the case. It's fundamentally the case that even in the high-tier pollsters, we're seeing this being borne out. Labour are collapsing and Greens are taking those votes. And we know that that's true. So if you look into the actual voting intention here, you find Reform on 27, Labour and Conservative on 17, and Greens on 16. So there's like a four-way split, really, on pretty equal voting numbers for the four behind Reform UK. And you can see here from the internal figures, from people who voted Labour, the biggest shift has been from Labour to Green. Only half of last elections Labour voters are going to still vote for them, and 18% are voting Green. So they're losing more votes to the Greens than they are to anybody else. That's the reality of why Labour are doing badly. Now, it is worth pointing out that people keep talking about the fact that, oh well, they're trying to win over Reform voters whilst not looking at the left flank that they're losing. But it's worth pointing out that Reform UK are winning a lot of their voters from people who didn't vote at the last election. That's where people kind of miss out, like kind of the myopic nature of the discussion of polling in this country from our media class. It undercounts non-voters. It's why people didn't take Mamdani seriously, because he won the primary because he energised non-voters in the way that Reform UK are doing. So Reform have a legitimate strategy in trying to win over people who are previous non-voters who are now voting for Reform rather than the current government by saying, we will fix asylum. The issue, of course, and the reason why Labour will fail is because they're not actually going to sort out the asylum problem, because the people who were previously non-voting don't want to see asylum numbers come down. They want the asylum seekers to drown in the channel. That's the reality of their politics, right? So it's a hide into nothing, and they should be trying to win back Green voters, but they won't, so we're going to want to replace them. As Zach eloquently put when he was on Sky TV the other day, that we are here to electorally replace Labour at the ballot box, especially in areas which have been strong Labour strongholds, such as inner cities and student constituencies, etc., etc. So that's the reality of where votes are coming from. But to tie this all together and put a neat little bow on top of it, right? To put Zia Yusuf in his place yet again is that the last time round, what was a 1% swing, would have put the Greens ahead of Reform in the under 55 cohort. Now, you don't get an under 55 cohort in terms of the crosstabs in YouGov. As you can see here, they go up to 49. So you can collate the 18 to 24 and the 25 to 49 to get the entire under 50 vote, which is the majority of the working age population in this country. Like, most people who actually go out and work and earn a living are within this broader cohort of the electorate, the 18 to 49 group. Any guesses as who's in first place when you put all the numbers together by population weighting in terms of those different demographics from the way they've put it down there, from 18 to 24 and 25 to 49? It's the Green Party. The Green Party are first. We are polling first, not in any pollster, in YouGov, in the entire under 50 demographic. Like, if you are a working person in this country, you are of working age, or the majority of working age people, you are most likely to support the Green Party. So all of that nonsense of, oh, well, it's just people who've never had a real job, it's people who are students who've never lived in the real world, it is people who are living on benefits. No, it's mostly people of working age who are voting for the Green Party. So that's really funny to me that in the actual better pollster, YouGov, Reform are doing worse in this overall cohort, and the Greens are doing even better. We are actually first in this poll. We are actually first, not just close to first like we were with Find Out Now. So I hope Zia is going to enjoy this, and I hope he's got his calculator working to try and prove me wrong. But what we're seeing is a fundamental breakdown of Labour's core voter base, right? And it's no longer a fluke. You can no longer say that it's because the low confidence pollsters are saying it. YouGov are saying it now. Fundamentally, the reason why working age people are more likely to vote left wing than right wing, as we see here, is because we are the party talking about the fact that wages have been too low, living standards have declined. The Conservative governments and the Labour government that followed have been putting the interests of multinational corporations, millionaires and billionaires, over the interests of working people and the broader proletariat in this country. They didn't get a job and become conservatives. They got a job and became socialists, the young people of this country, the working age people of this country. The reality is that instead of looking at the money that they were earning and saying, why is the government taking too much? They were looking at the money that they were earning and going, why is my employer paying me so low? Why are they extracting so much of my surplus value? That was the reality of what people in this country have come to. And the actual people who vote for right-wing parties in this country, it's the elderly. The biggest voting group, Reform and the Conservatives combined, are the over 65s, i.e. people who don't work, people who have been enjoying a pretty generous triple-locked state pension, who have been enjoying continually increasing house prices, yet the people from the 18 to 49 group are people who have been removed from home ownership, who have been blocked from home ownership by increasing house prices that have been political policy by Conservative governments to essentially pander to a very specific voter base. Again, it's very funny. It's very funny that people in the replies to me on Twitter pointing out that the Greens were ahead amongst young people and working age people in this country was to say, well, there's just people wanting free stuff. I'm like, mate, the people who have been bribed electorally are the elderly by the overall policy in which, even when it comes to basic welfare, when the Conservative government were opposing the winter fuel cuts, it was like, oh, look into your heart, Rachel, I'm sure you'll see that the elderly need this money. And yet when it came to the disabled, people who genuinely need the money far more than the kind of higher earning pensioners do, or the higher receipt of private pensioners do, who still get the winter fuel allowance, or at least it did up until the means test. The disabled people need that more. They were like, why aren't you killing more disabled people? Why aren't you cutting the disabled budget further? We do £3 billion worth of cuts. We're going to go after Motability. And I'm like, yeah, it's a reason why the Conservative Party have died. George Osborne were told over and over and over again, if you want the Conservative Party to be a long-term political force, young people need to get onto the housing ladder. And instead, they made sure that the existing homeowners got continually excess housing equity through their overall policy and of their blocking of construction and their over-financialisation and pouring money into financial markets that then invested in housing because it was the infinite money glitch in terms of an asset investment. And they encouraged landlordism. And now you've created a legion, a generation of communists and socialists. You love to see it. You love to see it. And the only way is up here. The only way is up here. Like, the Labour Party are going to be absolutely gobsmacked when they get annihilated by us in young, urban student constituencies during the local elections next year. And it's also weird how no one's talking about this in the media. They're talking about, oh, well, Labour losing votes to the Greens because Zach Polanski is good at social media, but they're not talking about this generational shift in terms of the polling and electoral fortunes of political parties, especially the Labour Party and the Green Party, amongst working age people in this country. The reality of what this looks like overall, right? Even if you take out the 18 to 24s, which overwhelmingly go to the Greens, like 40% to the Greens, a huge, huge margin for the 18 to 24s, and you just look at the 25 to 49 age range, so people who are almost certainly in work rather than students, and the Greens are like joint first, or close to joint first. It's like 21, 22 between Reform, Labour, and the Greens, with Reform and Labour tied on 22 and the Greens just behind on 21. It's not a fluke. It's not just students, although it just helped get us over the line to be the first amongst this group, this overall like combined cohort, this combined demographic, right? But even amongst what people in the received wisdom of our media class would look at as being people who should be voting Conservative because they're working age and they want to ensure their taxes are low, we want good public services. We want better wages. We want better workers' rights. We want more ownership of our workplaces. We want the cost of living to be lower. And that's something that right-wing politics has failed on. We want to buy houses. We want to be able to not be stuck renting forever. And that's what conservatism failed on. And the Green Party are offering common sense solutions to these problems. Water bills are too high. We nationalise the water companies, right? Wages are too low. We want better trade union rights. We want a higher minimum wage. This is not rocket science in terms of the things we're offering to the country in terms of policy. And they're picking up what we're putting down. And if you're watching this and you wonder what can I do to help, you should join the Green Party. It's only a £5 a month or £6 a year if you're poor to join the Greens and get involved in canvassing. So we need to show Labour that they are going to fail by chasing the right wing and continually being reform light. Being low-fat Nigel Farage will not be successful for them. And the best way to show them why they're failing is to punish them at the ballot box in May next year. We will need canvassers, we'll need campaigners, and overall we'll need money as well. So please sign up to join the Green Party, and indeed go to the link in the description to join up with Greens Organise, who are a left-wing eco-socialist bloc within the party trying to shift the debate leftward. Internally within the party. You can become a member by paying for Greens Organise, but you can just sign up for free just to get involved with the things that we're doing. But I highly recommend joining the Green Party. Let's get Labour out. Let's show them that they cannot take left-wingers for granted. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership to just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.